guys, and welcome to Live Trading Tuesdays. So this morning we're looking at the euro dollar, and I'm already in a position. I'll just go ahead and bring the chart up. So you can see that we're currently running negative 60, not sorry, negative 18 dollars, and I got my stop set in. You can see that it is on the euro. So I got my stop set in. I got those are the prices that I entered in, and I got my targets set in as well. And I, just for full disclosure, I mean, I entered this position earlier this morning, and I had already started the recording, and then when I played it back, I saw that the sound wasn't playing. So obviously I had to cancel those recordings and then start recording this entire trade from the beginning. But nevertheless, the reasons for me entering this position is because we have a lot of supporting negative momentum to push the price further down. And as well, with that being taken into consideration, we do have the potential of seeing the market actually roll over towards these lows over here. Now, one of the things that I was kind of determining was, if the market does in fact decide to roll over, would it be wise to take my first target off over here? And I think it would definitely be a good option to look to take profit over here, even though it's just about over 1%. So if I put it over there, that's about 29 pips. I'm risking 25 pips on this trade. So if the market does in fact make its way over here, then I would have closed the position on 25 pips, sorry, on let's say 30 pips. And if it rolls over from here, then that will ultimately, that first target would count as paying for the trade. I do, however, need to disclose that my first target is over here at these lows over here. Now, the reason I bring this up over here is, usually when I enter the position, the objective is to, there's three phases that you enter a position with. The first phase is you want to kind of calculate what is your overall risk on the position. So ultimately, you want to ensure that you're risking less, 1% or less than 1%, depending on your risk threshold. Once you've determined your risk, you then need to go ahead and determine where is going to be the best option in terms of adjusting your position. So if I was to make this example, I have 2 units in, and if the first unit was to close over here, that would ultimately pay for the trade, which means that even if it rolled over from this point over here, so in other words, if the price was to drop further down to this level over here, and take profit, then it rolls over, we would only lose the profit that we made over here. Ultimately, this would be seen as paying for the trade. But if the market does tend to roll over further down, then we could see that as a means of kind of growing the profit with both units. So in light of that, I do see the potential of the market kind of rolling down based on the negative momentum we have in the background. And that's why I'm not looking to necessarily look to take profit at this point here, but rather over here to fill these orders here. But with all that being said, guys, we can still see this market easily wanting to roll over, taking us out on our take profit. Now, the thing that will be quite disappointing is one of those instances where the market just nips you out on your stop loss and then decides to in fact roll over. But I'm relatively happy with the stop loss size. I'm not looking to do too much adjustments with that. I'm actually looking to keep it as is. And if we get stopped out, then that's just another reason why we should just reevaluate the position and then determine whether or not there is still value in terms of taking another trade. But for now, I think I'm just going to keep things as is. There's not much that I can do with this position. One of the key things you do not want to do with any trade is micromanage it. And that's why we put in these stops. That's why we put in these targets, because we don't want to micromanage the trade. We want to give it room to breathe. We want to give the market an opportunity to move in the way that it sees fit. So yeah, currently we're on the pivot. So we are on the pivot over here. So that is definitely something that is playing against me. To see how the market closes based on this pivot is going to be very interesting. But at the same time, if we close above the pivot, the question is, does this have enough support to push the market further up? If I look off screen, I don't see any other key factors that acts as reversal signals. But it's not to say that the market can't reverse. So this is just one of those days we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out. There's one of two things that can happen. It can either stop me out very quickly, or it can take a reasonably long time to kind of hit one of my targets. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and press pause and then wait and see what happens. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and do that, and we can come back as soon as we have something to report. Okay, guys, just back, and looks like we almost got stopped out. And there's still definitely the potential of getting stopped out if we look at it from a in terms of a pippage. We were just shy of my stop loss over there, and the market just tested these highs over here and then kind of pulled back. So we're still not out of the woods yet. There's still definitely the potential to see the market kind of rolling all the way up over here. So I had actually I did have a look at the overall markets as a whole. And if we look at it, the market could potentially, if it does want to break up, it may want to test the daily pivot. Okay. And I don't see why that should be an issue considering the fact that we're on a key support level over here. So if I was just to draw the support level like that over there, you guys can see that the market has used this level several times in the past. And the chances are we could want to possibly use it again moving forward. So what we're saying is ultimately, if the market does come down for another touch of this low over here, then that will be just that much more confirmation to see the market bounce off of this level over here. But at the same time, um, I'm just trading with the overall momentum that I see. And if we look at it very carefully, the market has really just used this level so many times in the past. And at the moment, we're literally testing the pivot, the 4 hourly pivots over here, which implies that we do have the potential to start to see the market moving further up. Because if we line it up very nicely, we can see that we're currently testing what used to be these support levels over here, is coming back into play, and that's a very nice looking candle over there for the upside. So definitely trading with a lot of counter moves over here. But that's what that when it comes down to it, I mean, you're gonna have to take the good from the bad, and you're gonna have to separate the nice from the ugly. And when I say that, I mean sometimes you're gonna get conflicting information, and you're gonna have to support a side. And in this instance, if I look at this position, then there's a lot of factors supporting the move to the upside, just as much as there's a lot of factors supporting the move to the downside. And at the moment, I'm still downside biased because of the momentum and the other key factors that I mentioned. But I could be, like I said, guys, I could be extremely wrong to see this market kind of just move all the way to the upside. Also, I've committed to the position. For me to take out a trade right now whilst still in the red is number one, indicating that I haven't accepted the risk, and number two, it implies that I'm removing the trade out of fear of losing. And the reality is there's not a fear attached to the loss. The reality is, in fact, if anything, there's just the curiosity of actually seeing if this market has the potential to play out in my favor. If not, these are the moments that you dust yourself off and you pick yourself up and you move on to the next one. And so that is one of the key things you want to remember when it comes to these types of trades. Now, there's been times when I've been in the red so close and the market rolled over, but there's also been more times when I've been in the red and the market actually went ahead and stopped me out. So we'll see what time this is specifically. Okay, guys, so it looks like we just about got stopped out. Let me just check off screen. Okay, yeah, no, we are just about stopped out of this position. You can see that there's no trades running. Let me go ahead and take a screenshot of what we were down today so far. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so yeah, I mean, one of those trades, one of those days, and let me just get this screenshot sorted. There we go. So we kind of we're about down about just over $50 today. You guys can see a bit of a losing day. And one of the things that we're gonna have to look at now, what we're doing now is I'm just gonna wait for the market to reset itself. I'm definitely looking to get long with the fact that the market has tested the pivot, confirmed all of the the factors that support the move to the upside. If we look at the Australian dollar, US dollar moving beautifully, very, very clean, very, very straightforward, and looks like we're going to get that daily divergence out of the way, which is also a good sign. So what we have on our side now is confirmation of direction, with the pound also starting to make some strong moves to the upside. The question that I'm going to ask myself is, will I get back in on the euro? And I think I could get back in on the euro and possibly trade it all the way up to the daily pivot. Okay, because we haven't tested that in some time. The last we tested was in April, on the beginning of April, technically. So it's been a while since we tested that level. So I'm just going to literally wait for the candle to close, confirmation, and the fact that we tested the pivot, the fact that we have all of these other factors in play, and we have a shift in momentum as well, indicates that we could see another opportunity to get on the long side of these positions. As for the Australian dollar, US dollar, I think the opportunity to get in has kind of run its course. But with regards to the euro, we just had this nice break to the upside, and so there is the potential of seeing the market kind of run further. So we're gonna have to wait and see how the market also responds to the CMA as well. But in terms of the size of this candle, very beautiful engulfing candle on key, the pivot support over here, which is also previous, is basically a key level as well. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to wait for a slight pullback, and that's going to be where we look to get in on this trade again. So we'll have to wait and see how this closes, and then we'll have to go from there. So for now, we down about $50 for the day, and we're going to look to kind of build that throughout the day. So all part and parcel of the game, and we anticipated a very nice move to the downside, but ultimately we caught the market on the wrong side this morning. So let's just go ahead and wait and see how things play out. But for now, I'll just go ahead and press pause. Okay, guys, just back, and we have the new hour opening. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and jump into a position now. So we're looking to go long. I actually want to put in another unit just a bit. What I would like to see is the market actually just drop down to test this low over here. But in the meantime, what we do have a unit in. You guys can see that we have a very nice unit in. So let's go ahead and get the stops set in as well. So my entry price that I got in on was, let me just check over here. Okay, so my entry price was around 84.17. So let's just get that set in. So we're going along on that candle. So our entry price was 84.17. Okay, and we're gonna actually look to put the stop about here. So let's make about 20 pips. We can make it about 20 pips for this trade. There we go. So I think 20 pips is reasonably well. If the market does retrace that deep, then we know the position is off. So we got that in over there. And targets. So what are we looking at for targets? So like we said, guys, this position has the potential to run all the way to these pivot levels over here, with the MAs also supporting it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually gonna try to see this trade through to these highs over here. Okay, so if we look at these highs over here, we're looking at about, let me just drag this up. It's about 137, which will basically pay for the loss that we've incurred, plus give us a reasonable amount of profit as well. So I'm gonna round this off to 140 pips that we're targeting. I'm hoping that we can get a second unit in, just so that we can kind of, and there we go. So let's just put that in there. Okay, perfect. So let me just bring the account over. Let's just click OK. Bring the account over, and you guys can see there we're in the position now. It's just a case of waiting to see how the trade overall will be playing itself out. But yeah, this is one of the things that in trading you need to learn how to pivot, and change your bias at the drop of a dime. And one of the things that could take place here is we could see the market easily just wanting to roll over, and in fact do exactly what we've anticipated in the beginning. That's definitely still something that's on the cards. But if we're looking at it from a momentum perspective, we can actually see the potential of the market kind of wanting to still, build to the upside. What I'm going to do now is I'm just waiting for another drop. In fact, Yeah, I'm just waiting for another drop to this white line, and that's going to be where I look to take the second position. I am going, however, into a meeting, so I might enter that position while I'm in the meeting. But for the most part, you guys know what the overall bias of this pair is. So we're looking for it to build some momentum to the upside. But just a bit of a blip, and then I'll enter the second unit in, and then we're looking to go. So let me go. Let me see. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just get the second unit in as well. Okay, there we go. So let's just go buy market. Okay, so we have our second unit in. Let me get the stops set in off screen over here quickly. Let's get the stops in. I don't want to enter another trade. Just there we go. So we get the stops in. It's going to be 1.08217. Um, so we got that stop in place, and that's how. So what we can do is, if I look at the potential um, of this market, we can possibly want to target these highs over here for the first unit. The first unit, yeah, we can target these highs over here, and for the second unit we can just let it run. So I'm going to go ahead and press pause. I have to get into this meeting, but then I'll get back to you guys with some more development as it relates to this position. So for now, I'll just go ahead and press pause. Okay, guys, just back, and looks like we are starting to build a bit of momentum to the upside. I saw that this would be a bit of a barrier with the market trying to break these highs over here. But if we are successful at breaking these highs, then ultimately we have a clear run to the upside. So let me go ahead and bring the account up for you guys just to show you. So technically we're halfway through with regards to the loss that we've incurred, about 50, I'd say about $50, close to 60. But essentially we basically over half now. If we were to close out, then we've made back half of what we lost essentially. But obviously, we're looking to run this all the way to this point over here, which is the daily pivot. And that's going to take some time. But for the most part, guys, I think um, with our first target being the pivot, the daily pivot, I'm trying to kind of swing all the way up. What I will do is most probably take profit at the first resistance level over here around that point. So if we get around this point over here, I'll close the position off the first position, and then kind of run the rest of the trade all the way to the upside. So very, very interesting day today. Momentum started to shift to the upside, which is very good, and I like that it has just started for the euro on my other screens. So we got some external momentum. If you look at the Australian dollar, the amount that the extent that it's moving right now in comparison to the euro is a lot less. So the amount of momentum that's backing the pound and the Australian dollar um, is a lot less than the momentum that is kind of back in the euro. In that, the euro has just started to we just started to see a positive momentum on the hourlies, which implies that we could see a very nice run to the upside. So if we come over here to the R1, we're looking to close off our first position, and then we're going to look to run the second position all the way to the 140s. But I think once we reach this level over here, I'll just close off the second position, sorry, the first position. And then we can possibly even wrap up at that point, because at that time, when once moved here, we'll move to break even, and all the risk will be off the table. So we'll go ahead and see how this plays out. Um, and yeah, so if you guys see over here, we literally, if we were to close the position now, we made back everything we lost, but we are not obviously looking to close out at the moment. We still have a long way to go. So our first target is at R1, and our second target will be all the way up over here at the 140s. So overall, we're still moving well. So I'll just go ahead and press pause. Hey guys, just back, and looks like we are doing quite well um, in terms of direction, as well as positive momentum in the background. So we just got another hour. This hour specifically had a lot of momentum, positive momentum in the background, and that's why we saw such a nice move to the upside. Ultimately, like we said, we're looking to take our first target off over here at the R1, and based on that, we will then just move to break even. Once move to break even, all the risk will then be off the table, and then we can determine whether or not we're looking to, if we can possibly see our next target running all the way. the top of a year within the course of today. This is quite a big target, I must admit, but I do see the potential of the market reaching this target either today or tomorrow. At the moment, it's 4 minutes to 12. So I'd like to get this video wrapped up by at least 1 o'clock this afternoon. And that could possibly imply that we could see us taking out our first target, and that's going to be where we could possibly wrap up the video. Let me bring up the account so that you guys can still see. So currently we're running about $69, up $69, and both our positions are doing quite well. And for the sake of just kind of seeing the market running to that point over there, we're gonna take one of these positions off to number one, pay for the trade, which will ultimately not only pay for the trade, but it will also make up for the losses that we've incurred in the previous position when we actually went short. And yeah, so that's what we're looking at in terms of this position over here. So I guess it's just a case of waiting and seeing how long it's going to take for the market to get to our first target. But for now, I'll just go ahead and press pause, and I'll come back to you as soon as we have commentary. Hey guys, just back, and looks like we're doing quite well in terms of the positive momentum in the background, pushing price further and further up. Let me go ahead and get the account pulled up for you guys so you guys can see. Um, so we haven't yet hit our first target, which is all the way up over here at 10900, all the way up over here, and we're still waiting to see how far price can move further. But for the most part, I mean, this is a prime example of what we took out yesterday, this morning, when we took a loss, a bit of a loss. And if you look at the amount that we actually up by, if we were to close both positions at this point, we will literally be making back what we lost this morning, with an addition of around $40 because we lost about $50 this morning. So if we were to close out, we'll make around $40 plus minus. And yeah, I mean that's just the principle of effective risk to reward. Losses are inevitable, but so are profits. And our objective is to ensure that when we are in a profit, we allow that to run as long as possible. So overall, guys, this still is we still need some work, but we're definitely in a good position as it stands. So I will be holding this position. We don't have any momentum is still definitely in the favor of buyers, so we have a lot of positive momentum for the upside. And yeah, I'll just have a look. I'll just have to wait and see how this market goes. But for now, can it still roll over? Definitely, this is always a possibility, guys. Always there's a possibility for that. So I never count that out. But the last thing I want to do is actually see the market, um, roll over, which will be fairly disappointing considering how close we are to our take profit. But the last thing we're going to want to do is see the market roll over, and we didn't actually manage it. So I know I said when we reach the first target over here, that's going to be when we move to break even. Um, but I'm actually kind of evaluating it and seeing whether or not that is a wise option. In terms of momentum, we still definitely have the market on our side. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move to break even at this moment, just to not only protect the account, but to ensure that the momentum continues going further up with no risk on the table. Because the last thing you want that if this market does in fact determine that it wants to come all the way back over here, chances are it's going to want to drop further down, and this move will be null and void. So instead of actually risking anything on this trade, we can actually move over to break even, just to protect the account. And if the market does decide to roll over, then we kind of close the day on a negative $50, which is not too bad. We can definitely make that back up, in any other trade. Um, but I don't think it's going to be wise for us to just leave that money on the table. So let's go ahead and move over to break even. Um, we get this up over here. So we're going to move it to our price, which is going to be 1.08394 is the first one. And then we're going to move the second one over to that. So just that 1.08394. Here we go. So at the moment, there's absolutely no risk on the table. All risk is taken off, and all we can do now is either we're going to make money on this specific trade, we're going to make money, or we're going to lose nothing. and then we'll have a net loss of $50 for the day. So let's go ahead and see how this market plays out. But for now, I'll just go ahead and press pause. Okay, guys, just back, and look like we did get stopped out. Let me just bring up the account. You guys can see that there is nothing in this account. You have We have been stopped out on our trail stop. So for me to take a screenshot, it looks like we got slipped a bit. Overall loss is about $2. Not much of a loss there, but nevertheless, I think that we can wrap today's episode up, or today's video. I think we'll park it there for today. I think it's been a very um, productive day in terms of being able to see how the market actually works, and this is definitely part and parcel of trading. And so ultimately, one of the key lessons that I will take away from today's episode specifically is to just continue sticking to your plan. I mean, this morning we took a short all the way up over here. Sorry, we took a short all the way down over here. In fact, uh, looking at the overall momentum on the market, and we saw this beautiful candle forming. It took us out on a stop loss, and then we managed to get in on the long at around this point over here, which ran us up quite nicely. But just missed, or not technically didn't just miss our stop, our first target, but did in fact miss it by quite a bit, in comparison to the amount that the market actually dropped by. So just one of those types of things. I'll definitely be looking at the other charts. I have identified other opportunities, so I'll just kind of determine whether or not there's opportunity there. But for the most part, I think I'll just wrap it up with this video for today, and I'll get this edited and sent out to you guys. And then I look forward to your feedback. I look forward to what you guys would have most probably done differently with regards to this position, knowing full well that we don't know what's going to take place. We can never anticipate what is going to happen. We can only speculate, and that's what makes trading so unique, and so effective. So yeah, guys, with all that being said, I hope that you were able to find value in today's live trading session. But for the most part, I hope that you have an awesome day further, and I look forward to chatting to you all soon.